Do a podcast here, or up here, or even over here, or even over here, or even over here. Good afternoon and welcome. This is episode number 8 of the 4x3 podcast. What a wonderful day. I'm just sitting here out in nature in a wonderful bush reserve, and it is not too cold. The sun is very average while there is a little bit of wind. Now let's take a moment to see if we can actually hear the wind today. Ooh, it sounds cold, but it's a nice breeze, and I am in the shade a little bit, while the sun is pretty much directly on me. I'm not too sure what to talk about today, but I'm going to riff about my day, and what it's been like. To me, today I darted off to my faraway shops, which is about 50 to 60 kilometres from where I live. And that is our big town. And unfortunately we are off the grid, but we're also not off the grid. We still do shopping because we can't grow bananas, and we haven't successfully grown everything and anything that we would like to grow. So we still require the store. And almost every time I go there, it's usually hectic. Today was a little bit more quiet, but I don't know. I guess it's still the same oddball feeling every time I go there. And what I normally do is go to Aldi, and I go to Coles, and I go to Woolworths, well, the other way around really. And then Kmart, the reject shop, and anything and everything you can think of. But I took a solo trip today, and it's a lot more easier to shop by yourself than with the entire family. With the kids screaming and yelling, and just a rush to find everything, and then not getting everything you need. While today was a good opportunity to actually spend a lot more time shopping. I do find myself spending way too much time shopping, and it feels like I'm loitering at a certain point. It feels like I'm there for like half an hour to an hour with each store, and I feel criminally insane every time I go out there. Usually, well, no, not usually. I would like to have a shopping list, but it always changes when I get there. And sometimes they have something, and sometimes they don't. And I feel like I grabbed different things this time than I normally do. And this was by accident. We were able to get bananas in a box, so they were fresh, they weren't bruised. They must have just been delivered, I guess, and not put on the shelves. And we buy mostly organic stuff now, so it is expensive, or it costs a lot more rather. But yeah, I grabbed the non-bruised bananas in a box. It's about a 10 kilogram box, and it lasts us about 2 weeks. I grabbed a little extra today just to boost that coverage over the 2-week period, and that's bloody hell, it's like an $80 purchase, but that allows everyone in the family to have bananas for a week or two. The thing that I still dislike the most is going to self-service or self-checkouts. And every time I go to Coles, I'm always going to a self-checkout because there's usually not a cashier present. Realistically, it's either busy enough for those to be taken, or I'm using the cash or card self-service. And the thing that I despise the most always is they wander or hover around you and they walk up and down all the aisles, all the self-checkouts, and it's sort of like they act like security guards. They're checking on what items you're scanning, and they are keeping an eye on you. That's what I feel like anyway. I've talked about that before in the past, but it just feels like it happens over and over again. It's a weird feeling, and I'd rather just go to a clerk, but yeah, it's not always available. And anyways, so that takes a very long time, and I like to buy tuna, however you pronounce it. And I usually get it from Aldi, which is $1.09, but it's not really $1.09 for me because I don't pay with card, so it rounds up to $1.10. I guess realistically it doesn't, but anyway, that's not important. So usually what I do is if I get different flavoured tuna, whatever, I stack them up in fours. So whatever flavour it is, I usually stack it up in fours of that flavour. And today I didn't, and I asked if they could save me some time by counting it all on the computer or whatever it is. But they said because each flavour is different, they pretty much can't reassure themselves that I'm doing the right thing, I guess. So I'm just scanning each individual can of tuna. Boop, 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 boop. I think next time I should have just grabbed every can of tuna they have in the store and just sat there all day and go boop, 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 boop. I'm sure it would have annoyed them enough to actually come and help me, and realised that I wasn't lying about the fact that they were all the same price. At Aldi, they don't give a shit. Anyway, just who cares, right? One of the odd things about walking out here right now, or just a few minutes ago, is there's a tree that for a while I've been afraid to climb or, walk along or up it, and I'll put a video on top of this audio file right now, and it'll show you before and after what I'm talking about. But it must have fallen down during the extreme winds that happened recently, which is quite sad because now I can't make the attempt to try and walk up it anymore, and that's been sort of leaned over for years, I would say, and I guess it finally gave out and a little pissed off, and that's it, the end of it. And I mean, that was fun for a while. There's a few trees I like around here that sort of have a lane where you can climb up the top of it, but yeah. Anyways, that was a bit of fun, and now that's gone. And yeah, I don't think much else really went on today. It's just a basic shop, and being by myself is just super easy. I was tempted to go into all the other stores for non-essential items, what have you, but I probably would have been tempted to buy things that I didn't actually need, and I would have been out of pocket a bit more money instead of saving. And it's getting quite difficult because right now I'm eyeing off new cameras and new this and new that, and now that we're settled out in the rural setting, it's easier just to do that. Anyways, and the thing about trees, when we first moved in, I was so very keen on walking around the area, and as time went on, just less keen on walking around or riding my bike around. It was so fun. I used to just get on my bike, go see what's around. I didn't know it at the time, but there's these little farming areas, and now I don't try to meddle in that because I don't want to fall into any trouble for loitering or anything like that. But the adventure went like this. I would take a little action camera with me. I'd film a lot of random stuff, and there would be this little reserve farm lot. I didn't know what it was. I don't know what it is still. I haven't gone down there in a while. But I would take my camera down there, and I'd just film myself on a farm fence post. But there was this a weird time period where this bloke was living in the reserve in a tent, and he accumulated a bunch of stuff. But anyway, after that, after he'd been taken, or during the time period where everyone knew that there was a guy stealing from farmland around the area and piling up all this junk in the bush, I was hesitant to actually travel around on my bike because I didn't want to get into trouble. I didn't want to be associated with this guy that was stealing from farmland. And I was riding my bike at one point one day, and I did ride my bike past the farmer because he had come from that area, and the road was a little back road where I'm guessing it led to his farm or access to one of his farms. And so he just wanted to know things because he was telling me that someone was stealing from the area, and I was just letting him know where I lived and just informing him that I'm good. And then he probably went to my neighbour, and she would have just said, yeah, no, he's good and whatnot. That was fun, the adventure, but it sort of got ruined for me. It's like a honeymoon period. When we moved in here, I adventured the entire area, and took every trail and every bush path, but I don't like lurking around too much because again, there's some paranoid people around, and I don't want to disturb them or piss them off, really, because they know people, and those people know people. And as soon as word gets spread around in country areas, it can be game over for you, and people could paint a picture about you very instantaneously, and then you're destroyed. That's happened to, and I'll get back to the trees in a minute, that's happened to my neighbour. Her brother was accused of something not good, and the entire town got word of all this thing that was happening based on one person's mouth, and then damn, they basically turned against him, and the police looked into his matter, and then they dropped the charges because he wasn't doing anything wrong. And just like that, tried to destroy one person. Now, so I'll get back to the trees. I like to sidetrack a lot. I like to bounce around a lot. So I used to take my DSLR out into the bush land and take videos and photos of everything, and have a look at all the trees every day, and take my bike and film whatever I want. I didn't talk to my neighbours. I didn't do anything really. I just did what I wanted to do, and that was it. A lot of the trees around here, there's a lot of dead trees, And I was thinking of making a little documentary about how the trees are all black and dead, and why are they black and dead. Anyway, so since moving here, there's been a lot of trees that have fallen. And it seems like a lot of the reserve land is clearing off more and more every year. And the winds are getting stronger and stronger, and yeah, it's just not too good. They're falling down at a quicker rate than the new growth is coming in. And because we have this weird 50-50 divide split with our nation over the future of our land and I won't get into it, global warming, whatever you want to call it. What's the other word that people are using? Climate change, that's the one. Because we have this divide and all this stuff that's happening, which I'm not paying attention to, so I won't ever know about any law changes or anything like that. Things are getting harder and harder. One side wants to destroy all of nature and all of the trees, and the other side wants to keep them, and then there's the whole issue with bushfires and deadfall and just a nasty world, and I don't want to get into that right now because I've lived here for 4 years, and 4 years that people have paid attention to nonsense is a whole 4 years that I've seen the same trees and the same deadfall and the same nature and the same everything, and nothing has touched it. It's just a beautiful landscape, and just like that, as soon as regulation changes, as soon as things change, I'm waiting for the downfall of my local area. But that's just another talk for another day, which I don't know, probably won't talk about. Oh, okay, so I don't know if I just mentioned this because I'm brain dead. I am currently on the second day of a fast, and my fasts are never planned, and by the 48th hour of a fast I usually give up because of fears of progressing even further. But I don't know. That last time I tried to go even further than 48 hours, and so 2 days, 48 hours, right? I decided I just wanted to be in bed and do nothing, and just basically lie down and breathe in and out, and you just feel like you're detached from the world. And for me, I feel like at ease or at peace, and it just feels so good the more you go along, or the more I go along, and just breathe in the world. But mostly I don't want to do anything but in general I just don't want to do anything. And it would be nice to go along and continue on with the fast and not eat food. But who knows? I don't know. And during my shop, I didn't buy anything unhealthy or problematic, or I didn't go out and eat any nasty foods that I didn't want to eat. So far it's coming along, but usually when I talk about it, I always fail. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of self-sabotage for me, so if I can push through it, then I'll be a happy little laddie. Now, I did buy some electrolytes because apparently I need that during the fast. If I were to go any further than the 2 days. So I haven't eaten since 4 o'clock. Not yesterday, but the day before that, I think. So 4 o'clock today would lead me up to 48 hours, I guess. And by the time I even put this online, I guess I would have either failed or succeeded. So we'll see. Because I did buy shopping and I'm keen on it. Keen on some food, but I can go on. And I guess for the last week or two, have been doing a bit better with the food habits. Fasting for 24 hours and then eating food has been what's going on. So just breathing in and out, and the nice beautiful sun is upon me as I stare at the gum trees and the pine trees in my local reserve. And if I were to ever move location by any means, by any reason, I would absolutely miss the shit out of this. It's a little gem. It has its issues, but it's an interesting place. And I've been to some interesting places. I might talk about that right now, actually. The place I lived before this, I don't even know if I've talked about it. You drive 40 minutes or so, and you're driving along some farmland and some bushland, and then you come into a very small town, maybe less than 1,000 people, and it goes like this. There is a beach called 90 Mile Beach, which connects to all these other little gems of towns. And in this particular town there is a lakefront, and this lake also goes to all these other little towns. And so via access of boat or travel with a boat, you will get to these other little towns. And in this town in particular, there is a small food works, a small police station, and there are lakefront view properties, and most of the houses, well, I wouldn't say most of them, a lot of them are holiday houses. And in the back end of this town is a reserve. It's so difficult to explain because there's two sort of lakes. One is permanently there, and the other one comes and goes due to the weather. So when it's raining, this lake fills up. I think the lake fills up because the main lake spreads out to the smaller lake, and that's what fills it up. And this one is sort of like a wet and dry sort of a lake. And that is sort of like a little back-end gem. It's a salt lake which goes on for, I would like to say, 25 kilometers to the next town over. And this has salt flats on it, I guess that's what you'd call it. And it's filled up with kangaroos and deer and snakes and lizards and birds, and it's a beautiful, empty, yet shrub-filled landscape that many people don't consider it a spot to hang out in, because the front end of town has expensive properties and people only care about the lake view, and it's a holiday maker town and they only care about the beach or the front of the lake. Not many people desire the back end, which is what I call it, because when I used to live there, a house that we used to live in backed up onto this reserve, and I would take very long walks, sometimes like 10-kilometer walks on the salt flats. I wouldn't have too many issues, and it would just be so amazing. Now, where I live now, I have the highway, loud traffic all the time, trains, you name it. With this, they don't have a major highway, but they have the military, because there's a military base in the area. They fly over the area constantly, so all you're hearing is that's more like traffic. It's just a loud jet noise, but it's really quick and sudden. It's not too loud, but it's also noticeable. But yeah, that's the other little gem. Our little gem is sort of like we're surrounded by farmland, but in the middle there is a reserve. And I've probably mentioned this before. I just probably crap on about it too much, but yeah, I enjoy that. And I guess what I desired the most when moving was either we had a large property of like 30 acres where we could just explore every day and whatnot, or we would be backed up onto a reserve. And that's pretty much the deal breaker, and that's what we got. I would have preferred to stay in the town that I just mentioned with the salt flats and the beach and the lake view, because everything was is within walking distance. So the kids and the partner could just go to the shops whenever they wanted. I could have some peace and quiet, or I could watch the kids and then she could have some peace and quiet. It's just a well-balanced area. It's beautiful, actually, yeah. And then you have a major town that's 40 minutes away, and you can get a bus 3 times a week, and it's just a dream. But unfortunately, when it is declared a disaster zone, you are either trapped or you have to leave, essentially. That's the only issue over there. I did end up taking my camera to a repair shop. That turned out to be an expensive quote, but now I've decided not to go there, and it would cost less just to buy something else. I sort of bought a camera off the whim, I guess. Whereby I just, for some reason, wanted to splurge a bunch of money and buy it. And now it's pretty much non-existent. And there's 2 main components that either need to be replaced, which are expensive to replace, or someone needs to do a board repair, so solder on some new components or whatever they do. And I don't know if it's repairable or not, but who knows. And for me, I don't know how long these little podcast things are going to go, because usually they're based off of what's happening on the day, or what I think up, really. Unless I get into like conspiracy stuff or all this stuff that I'm aware of, they are quite short now because I'm finding it hard to think of anything. The thing now that's happening is mostly like a health related goal. I'm trying to do a fast to get rid of that 10 kilos I gained, which is bad. 10 kilograms. I haven't been 10 kilograms overweight since I moved, because when we moved I was 106 kilos, then I got down to 96, and then there was a period where I got really sick, and then it was down to 85 or 84 or something like that, and it's gone up, and now, well, it was up until recently, it was about 104, 105, 106 again, and now I'm about 100, and with all the fluctuation in liquid and eating, I could go down to, I could go back up to 102, or I don't know, not much would change, but right now, I don't know. I guess the main goal is to focus on the health part. The fasting for 24 hours is a good thing for me, and it really fixes your brain a little bit. And if you do a fast and then you fail and then you eat a bunch of stuff, what you'll notice is that you never felt like eating that amount of food. And I'm talking about like after a day or after 30 hours or 36 hours, probably at the bare minimum, and you start to eat a bunch of stuff because you're really hungry, which you're not supposed to really do, but you'll notice that you just will feel way too full, and I guess, I don't even know how to explain it. Sometimes you'll feel really full and sometimes you'll feel absolutely empty. Well, that's my feeling anyway. Well, you haven't really felt like you've eaten enough, which is pretty dangerous after like 3 days when you're gorging on food, which you shouldn't be, apparently. So I'm taking it easy right now, and I don't know, there's not much I want to do. It would be nice to get back into running and going for long walks, just feeling good, but that's really a hard task for me. What else happened today? Not much. Well, with that, good afternoon, and for anyone listening out there, thank you and goodbye.